Welcome to Glasgow, a city where stories of the past meet the energy of today. In just a day and a half, we'll uncover ancient wonders and modern gems, from the towering Glasgow Cathedral to the haunting beauty of the necropolis. Then, onto vibrant streets buzzing with life and magical night walks through Merchant City. Day 2, we step back in time at the Tenement House, get inspired at Kelvin Grove, and dive into the stories of travel at the Riverside Museum. But we're not done yet. The River Clyde awaits. The iconic Clyde's Port crane stands tall, and Glasgow street art brings bold colour and personality to every wall. This is a journey through Glasgow you don't want to miss. So stay tuned, hit that like button, and let's get started. Today we're off to Glasgow. Glasgow is about 330 kilometres or just under 3 hours by train from Wigan, where I'm currently staying. A local recommended the Northern Railway app, and that's what I've used to book this ticket. It's super easy. Just type in your origin and destination, choose your date and hit search. If you're planning a trip, I definitely suggest booking a few days ahead. That's how you'll get the best fares. You can also check which stops are along the way and choose from a few different payment options like credit card, Apple Pay or PayPal. Leaving Wigan West, the journey begins by train. Rolling north, each mile brings us closer to Scotland's beating heart. Outside, endless green stretches across the landscape, peaceful, wide open, and a few sheep just to keep us interested. And just like that, we arrive. Glasgow welcomes us, vibrant, bold, and ready to explore. First stop, information.
All the way round and then back up and just...
Yeah, I didn't understand a word of that either. I just grab a map and step out onto the street to start exploring. Strolling through Glasgow's streets, history surrounds us, every building telling its own quiet story. And look, a classic blue police box. Glasgow must be good if Time Lords like to holiday here. As I approach George Square, the heart of Glasgow opens up, and standing proudly, the statue of James Watt, a tribute to the mind that helped power the modern world. And that's the city's chambers, standing grand. Now Glasgow has really turned on the weather for us today. It's a balmy 8 degrees. I'm assuming that all the Glaswegians are probably down by the river, taking a dip to cool off. The towering Glasgow Royal Infirmary, where history and healing have intertwined for centuries. And nearby, the David Livingstone statue, honouring the legendary explorer and humanitarian born right here in Scotland. First stop, Glasgow Cathedral, because we definitely haven't seen enough cathedrals. Stepping up to Glasgow Cathedral is stepping into the medieval heart of Glasgow. Built in the 12th century, this magnificent structure has withstood wars, reformations, and the test of time. Its Gothic spires and weathered stones speak of faith, craftsmanship, and centuries of worship that shaped the city's soul. As we move inside, history lingers in the air, each arch and stained glass window echoing stories of devotion and endurance. High on the walls, the organ pipes stretch upwards, quietly overlooking the entire space. Walking through the old wooden pews, we approach the main altar, framed perfectly by stained glass that catches the light in every colour. History is everywhere in this cathedral, and much of it goes unnoticed. Beneath the main floor lies the crypt, where Saint Mungo, the city's patron saint, is said to be buried. Look closely at the stained glass. Though the originals were destroyed during the Reformation, the current windows date mostly from the Victorian era, each carefully restored to bring back colour to the cathedral. This isn't just a place of worship, it's Glasgow's oldest building, standing strong through wars, reformations and revolutions alike. Next, we're off to the necropolis, where people are literally dying for this view. The path winds up slowly, and honestly, it's kind of peaceful. You've got headstones leading every which way, names worn down and dates going back centuries. Some are massive and ornate, others nearly hidden under plants that have just taken over. It's wild in spots, like nature's doing its own thing here now. It's quiet, not creepy, just still. And the higher you climb, the more of Glasgow starts to peek through the trees. And then you reach the top, and yeah, the view's kind of unreal. You get all of Glasgow laid out in front of you. Churches and rooftops, history and progress, all in the one frame. The Glasgow necropolis isn't just a cemetery, it's a hillside full of stories. Built in the 1830s, it quickly became the final resting place for some of Glasgow's most influential people. Over 50,000 people are buried here, though only a fraction have headstones. You'll see towering monuments, crumbling angels, and family plots tucked away into the slopes. Most of the graves faced east, a tradition meant to greet the rising sun. Walking through, you get this strange mix of silence and city noise. It's peaceful, but never disconnected. Like Glasgow's past is still very much part of its present. Leaving the necropolis now and heading down High Street. The vibe shifts pretty quickly, from historic and quiet to busy and lived in. There are some incredible street murals along the way, painted right onto the sides of old buildings. And then there's some graffiti that's, well, I guess less impressive. Up ahead is the Tolbooth Steeple, one of the few remnants of medieval Glasgow, just casually standing in the middle of a junction. Continuing on, and I pass by the McLennan Arch, originally from the 1790s. It's been moved a few times, but now it stands here at the entrance to Glasgow Green, like a proper old school gateway. Crossing the River Clyde now, looking back over Union Bridge, one of the city's many links across the water. On the south bank, the walk's nice, but the amount of rubbish along the river is pretty grim. That said, there are clean-up initiatives happening, which is good news, not just for Glasgow, but for the planet too. Still killing time before check-in, so I wander over the suspension bridge, always a good spot for a quiet view of the city. Looking down the River Clyde, you can see the Glasgow Bridge in the distance, one of the oldest crossings still holding strong. And just off to the side, a street artist doing his thing, adding a bit more colour to the walk. Wandered into the Scotia, one of Glasgow's oldest pubs. Just have a look around. It's quiet inside, currency from all over the world hangs on a string above the bar. In one of the booths, old photos line the wall, sharing bits of the pub's long history. So the sun has gone down on Glasgow, but we're out and about searching for something to eat because I'm still hungry. Go along for the ride, guys. I walk through Merchant City, one of Glasgow's oldest and most vibrant districts. Today it's a stylish mix of historic architecture, trendy bars, restaurants, boutique shops and art spaces. And the Duke of Wellington statue. Only in Glasgow would a traffic cone become a symbol. And yeah, no one's taken it down. But right now, it's time to feed that hunger and relax a little bit, give those legs a rest before I wander home and get some good night's rest before a big day ahead tomorrow. Day 2 in Glasgow. Early streets, a bit quieter, but still full of life. Stop for a coffee because honestly, I'm feeling it. Yesterday was a lot of walking and this flat white is basically survival right now. Back out and it's classic Glasgow. Murals popping out of nowhere and yep, that's a full truck sticking out of a nightclub. Still on foot and the graffiti is everywhere. Whole walls just covered in colour. We're heading to our first stop of the day, the tenement house. The tenement flat, where the walls are thin, the ceilings leak, and the neighbours, well, they know more about your life than you do. A fine example of early 20th century architecture. Let's step inside, shall we? Come on. We're now inside the tenement house, a rare time capsule from the early 1900s. This entry room connects all the main spaces, and back then, every square inch had a purpose. The bedroom belonged to Miss Agnes Toward. The dress laid out on the bed, honestly, it's dangerously close to my personal style. She used that sewing machine for everything, repairs, alterations, and here's her dressing table. No serums or LED masks, just a few well-used brushes and cold water. This tiled fireplace was the main heat source, coal-fired, efficient and absolutely non-negotiable in a Glasgow winter. This was considered a luxury at the time, an indoor bathroom with running water. No more shared loos in the close. The original sink and fittings are still here, and yes, that's a real pull chain toilet. The kitchen was the heart of the flat. Small, but it did everything. Cooking, heating, washing, and even bathing sometimes. That's a coal-fired range, which handled both meals and hot water. The pulley drying rack overhead, classic Glasgow design. Clothes went up there where the heat was. It's tight by today's standards, but back then, this was a well-equipped working class kitchen. Cook your dinner, roll over, and go to bed in the bed cupboard. Efficiency or a fire hazard? You decide. Now into the living space, small but packed with personality. The dining table's set with crockery that probably hasn't moved since the 1950s. There's even a piano, not just for decoration, people actually gathered around and played. Another fireplace here because central heating wasn't exactly a thing back in the day. And yes, another bed in a cupboard. Privacy optional, space saving mandatory. Well, I really enjoyed that. It really puts a different spin on coming out of the closet, doesn't it? Speaking of which, I look like I've just woken up in a tenement flat. Tired, a little bit under the weather today. I'm off on foot again now, heading through Kelvin Grove Park. A bit of a green space right in the middle of the city. Up ahead is the Stewart Memorial Fountain, built to celebrate Glasgow's clean water supply. Clean water was a game changer for Glasgow. It helped the city tackle serious disease outbreaks like cholera back in the day. A flock of birds takes off overhead as I keep walking. Up ahead, a graffiti-covered skate park, totally empty. Guess we missed the rush hour. Now approaching the Kelvin Grove Art Gallery and Museum, one of Glasgow's most iconic spots. Inside you're welcomed by a massive hall and dozens of expressive heads hanging from the ceiling. Not creepy at all. Sculptures surround the space. There's a lot to take in. Then, the Glasgow Boys, a group of late 19th century artists who ditched stiff Victorian styles for something a bit more raw, more real. At the far end, the main hall, and that grand organ. There's even a dog statue made from gumboots. Why not, I say? The natural history section? It's packed. Birds, mammals, reptiles, all carefully preserved from just about every corner of the world. There's even a few familiar faces if you're watching from Australia. Kind of strange seeing animals you grew up with behind glass and looking a bit too calm. Kelvin Grove's a mix of everything. Art, history, nature, science. One minute you're standing under a supermarine Spitfire, the next you're in a room full of medieval armour. It's a kind of museum where you never really know what's coming next, and that's exactly what makes it so good. And as I would say, Elvis has left the building and we're off to our next destination. Our next stop, the Riverside Museum. It's Glasgow's transport museum, but it's way more fun than it sounds. They've got full-size trams you can walk through, like stepping into another era, complete with wooden seats and handwritten signs. Old fire engines too, big, red and polished like they've just rolled out for a parade. You can almost picture them racing through cobbled streets, bells ringing, smoke in the air. It's all beautifully restored. One of the most impressive sights? Dozens of vintage cars mounted right onto the wall, stacked like Matchbox toys. From classic British makes to rare international models. Every one of them tells a bit of a story of how people used to get around. From classic British makes to rare models, it's basically automotive history as wall art. There's a full section on bikes too, from early pedal-powered contraptions to sleek racers. And then, out of nowhere, R2-D2. Yep, the real one from Star Wars. Plus a stormtrooper and Darth Vader just casually standing nearby. And a shout out to my fellow YouTubers roaming with Russells. Here's a camper that would make you jealous. The museum ends with a full street setup like it was back in the day. Old shops, cobbled roads, even vintage signs in the windows. It's a quiet way to finish, like stepping out of the past one last time before heading back into the present. It really gives you a sense of how much Glasgow's changed and how much of it still lingers just under the surface. Back on the street, walking along the rail line next to the A814. The walls are covered in street art, bold colours, huge pieces, some political, some just pure creativity. That's the SEC Armadillo. Part concert hall, part spaceship. The design's inspired by ships' hulls, which fits Glasgow perfectly. Next to it is the OVO Hydro, massive arena, hosts everything from live music to wrestling. The Clydepork Crane, also known as the Finnieston Crane, is one of the last giants of Glasgow's industrial past. Built in the 1930s, it was used to load heavy machinery like steam locomotives onto ships headed around the world. Today it's no longer in use, but still stands as a symbol to the city's shipbuilding legacy and engineering muscle. Continuing along the Clyde River, heading closer to the city, and it's starting to pick up again. More people, more noise, and more street art popping up as we go. Some of it's massive, some tucked away, but all of it adds to Glasgow's personality. This visit's been a proper mix. Cathedrals, cemeteries, museums, murals, old flats, and a lot of walking in between. Glasgow's full of contrasts, and that's what makes it interesting. It doesn't try to be perfect, it just feels real. If you made it this far, thanks for tagging along. There's still plenty more to explore, but for now, we'll call it a day. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button and subscribe. Until next time, keep exploring.